Welcome back to the Morning Mindset. I hope you are ready to get your mind aligned with the truth of God. In the last episode, I introduced a new topic that we are going to ponder here for a number of episodes. I have no idea how long this is going to take because everything that I'm drawing this from, which is a book, by the way, by Andrew Murray called Humility, everything in the book is so helpful. I reread this book regularly. You know, I'm very averse to saying that books have changed my life. But besides the Bible, this book, Humility by Andrew Murray, has changed my life. It has impacted the way I view God, the way I view myself, the way I try to present myself in the world by God's power. It really is an incredible resource. Now, last time I ended the episode by reading a quote from Andrew Murray. I want to read it again and then continue and read just a little bit more to introduce the idea of what humility is and why it is so important for us as believers in Christ. Andrew says, "As God is the ever-living, ever-present, ever-acting one who upholds all things by the word of his power, and in whom all things exist, the relation of the creature," that's you and me, "to God could only be one of unceasing, absolute, universal dependence." That's where I left off last time. Let's continue reading. "As truly as God by his power once created, so truly by that same power must God every moment maintain. The creature has not only to look back to the origin and first beginning of existence and acknowledge that it is there that it owes everything to God. Its chief care, its highest virtue, its only happiness now and through all eternity is to present itself an empty vessel in which God can dwell and manifest his power and goodness." Now, do you see what Andrew is doing there? He's going back to creation and pointing out that God, being the creator, is the very source from which all of creation flows. And in referring to us as mankind as the creature, he's saying that we as creatures have a responsibility to view ourselves rightly. And that view is that we are entirely dependent on God himself. Not just because he created us from nothing, but also because he sustains us day by day and moment by moment. You see, God is the very source from which we draw our existence. And more so, he is the very source by which our life continues. And so for us as creatures to see ourselves in right relationship to our Creator is for us to see ourselves rightly. That goes back to something I mentioned in the previous episode. Humility is not about demeaning yourself or taking a very low estimation of who you are. Humility is to see yourself rightly, who you really are, who God has created you to be. And so how are we to look at this practically as we go about our day? Well, number one, what comes to my mind immediately is this whole issue of being a rugged individual or independent in the way that we go about things. Now, I get what is meant by those phrases, and I understand the value of not being someone who's waiting for others to decide things so that you can take action. I mean, being a person of initiative can be a very important thing in life. But as creatures, under the rule and the power of the Creator, we are not to be so independent that we become independent of Him. That is where humility comes into play. We have to recognize that we need to be checking in with our Creator moment by moment and day by day. We need to be walking through this thing we call life with our eyes and ears and hearts attuned to the voice of our Creator so that we can live rightly before Him. You see, we are not meant to make a mark on the world for ourselves. We are meant to make a mark on the world for the sake of our Creator. And that is where humility is of the greatest essence. Join me again tomorrow as we talk more about this issue of humility on The Morning Mindset.